What is up YouTube, and welcome back to the RiftGuides WildRift video. For today we're going to take a look at the newly released Prestige Aatrox on the mid lane, playing into Zyra. One of very few rare picks you'll basically never see. And what is this Aatrox doing right now? Let's break it down for you. The Aatrox is trying to actively zone the Zyra from the mid wave. As you see, the XP difference is already immense. The Zyra lost a minion. With this, the Aatrox will get an accelerated level 2, which will allow him to go for an all-in on the Zyra. However, the Zyra is bullying him quite severely. But if she makes any mistake, life is getting very, very dangerous for her. For Aatrox, it's one of the few things that you have to always understand. If he gets close to you and gets to hit you with his Q spells, like his first abilities, you will instantly die. And as long as the wave is in a state where he can just chill and farm from range, he gets to scale, and then once he gets his first base off, you will be permanently dead. In the early game, Aatrox isn't really that strong unless he hits his sweet spots, but if he wants to do so on you when you're inside of the wave, he has to automatically push at all times. But you see the damage, has a beautiful flash. What a very straightforward gameplay, like very, very telegraphed play. Like if an Aatrox does this to you, you always know he will flash, and you have to flash away. Since it's Aatrox as well, he can just instantly clear the wave. Like, there's not really a time where you have to wait to reset, or you just leave on a freeze. You don't have to do that on mid lane. Not on Aatrox. You can just push the wave ASAP and enjoy your time. And he is also in... Oh, he uses the nice emote. You just have to love this guy already. He has the armor pen boots. He's also running sudden impact, so if he's touching the Zyra with anything, she instantly dies. Look at the damage already. Ooh, this was blocked by the plant. Ah, it's one of the most annoying things to happen to you. The stupid plant. But yeah, he's now very aggressive. The Master Yi is coming around the corner with the ultimate enabled. Just nothing will happen here. And he can turn on them. Did you just see what he did to the Master Yi? He just looked at him funny and popped him. Aatrox is one of such crazy champions. Whenever you're not paying attention to the champion and he gets off any of the spells, like his Q3, it's instant death. And now it's even crazier, he has even more armor pen. And it wouldn't surprise me if the enemy Zyra, because he has so much armor pen, is close to having nearly 0 armor. And if you think about the maximum damage his first ability does, like the big numbers, you will be very much surprised how much the spell actually does. 241 with the first instance, 359 with the second instance, so you can basically imagine what the third one would have done to the Zyra. It is a scary time for her to be alive, because she was the bully in the early game, but that has ended. It is now completely over for her. He can do anything he wants, he can just walk at her and force cooldowns, and if she gets tagged by anything, it's instant death. She really is playing with fire, and he's zoning her from the EXP in mid lane. It's so difficult for her to get anything done. Another 231, which is a slight touch of the first ability, and he's just playing full aggro, constantly pushing in, since he knows that the enemy Master Yi can't really do anything. Just quickly hitting her. This will be a trade, maybe? Oh, he even gets to survive this, and he's quickly yoinking the jungle, because why the hell not? You can just one-tap camps. Yeah, why not, you know? And he gets another camp while seeing that the Master Yi is currently at the red buff. Does he go for a plating? What a little greedy goblin. Gets a plating, gets out, dashes the wall, pays close attention to what is happening, and they're all playing iPad as far as I can tell, right? And now it's like, if it was over before, it is even more over now. With the power of Duskblade, he has so much damage and he will guarantee his spells to hit. With the slow, it just makes it so much easier for the enemy to not get away with anything. And the moment he sees anyone here, he can just instantly ult on them and avoid any linear skill shot, thanks to the power of the movement speed of his ultimate. Look at this trade, by the way. It is crazy how much damage Aatrox does if you play against a squishy champion, or generally even as a bruiser. He pops ult instantly as the Master Yi walks in. The Zyra uses the ultimate for no reason. He's ready to turn on the Master Yi. He hopes that he turns in the brush. He actually does. He knows perfectly where he comes on. He just instantly kills the Master Yi. And just, yeah, he just kills them all, and his team is trying to surrender even though he's absolutely stomping the enemy. It's so crazy how much damage this does. It must be a skin related thing in all honesty, but no. Sadly, Aatrox damage has always been like this. And he usually only struggles into champions that make it very difficult for him to reach. Like, if you have any champion that applies proper CC with this full damage build the Aatrox has, he has no uptime on the enemy, meaning he deals no damage, and if he does no damage, he doesn't sustain. And right now he has more than 1k GPM, and his bot lane is rotating here and is now stealing his gold? I mean, they're trying to play for Herald, but still. Now he's going for Black Cleaver, buys another longsword just to have the maximum power spike to just not have some excess gold in the inventory. And he's walking back to the mid lane because he wants to make sure that the Herald isn't stolen by the enemy team, because there's still 1 minute and like 15 seconds of platings available. And now he's just going for an instant dive. He just runs her down. Will this be enough? I can't continue. This is like, as I said, like if you can't reach, it's one of the biggest problems. And that's why many players play with Yuumu's Ghostblade, because it will allow you to reach. And that's the biggest thing. But Duskblade adds even more damage because of the slow and the on-hit bonus. And since you're playing so much lethality, the physical damage bonus from the item basically applies nearly to its fullest potential. And if you're wondering why people are doing Scuttle Crab when they have like any kind of downtime, there's no minions to farm, it's a walking health pack, so you can always regen up. And if you're a jungle and you do the Scuttle Crab and you even smite it, it's basically a full heal for free. It's basically a mobile fountain. He has a big item spike in base, granting him even more armor pen with now the Black Cleaver, granting him even more tankiness as well. Alternatively, you could have argued going for an Edge of Night, because it would at least block one spell, which is potentially detrimental to your gameplay. But now, he's ready to go for more. I'm curious to see, what I see many people do is they go Glorious Enchant, or they go for Protobelt. Would have been nice to see, and you just don't walk up to an Aatrox like this. You really don't. Because this just happens. He even doesn't waste his Q spells to make sure that he just gets it for another champion. And yeah, the Thresh just knows it just doesn't matter. The Master Yi will also die. Oh, he misses the ability. It might also be turnable now for the enemy. He's on the leash now. The enemy doesn't die, so he doesn't get an ult reset. This is doomed now. This might be very close for him, but okay, he gets this. Okay, the slight mistiming could have changed the outcome of this drastically. And if the enemy gets a 1k shutdown on a carry, this game might turn into a very hard one very fast. And now he finds the Yone, he just instantly taps and he presses the ultimate, he can't escape, but he lives with 1 HP, come on now. Bro. I think we can't make any excuses for this play, because, in all honesty, going for a 300 gold, going for a bit of gold to give the enemy 1k, that's not worth in any book, but getting carried away emotionally and just wanting to go in is something we can all relate to, so yeah. Here, there's something very important. You really do not want to just dash into an Aatrox like this. It's very, very scary. Because if you use all your mobility to get towards him, and he still has his spells available, he might turn on you instantly. And this is very sketchy when he has Flash available. If he has Flash, and he gets to stack up to Q3, and then he turns around into Q3 Flash into the enemy, he might just one-tap you. And another thing about Aatrox that makes him not that powerful in laning generally, is that he has very big issues reaching if he doesn't have ult. But if he has any kind of setup like this Nautilus, he can reliably reach and just one-tap you. But yeah, there's so many picks in WildRift that are available or able to be played that you simply haven't seen. I also usually don't put them into the tier list because there were, back in the time, just competitive flex picks. Like the Camille mid, Aatrox mid as well, Garen mid, all of these champions, unless they're like very highly... very popular picks, I tend to stay away from putting them into these places. Like, for example, Zyra, I know she's a mage, but I really don't think that her mid lane position is that strong right now, so I don't really want to put her into a role where she's not that good. But now he pops his ultimate, he goes in, he gets zoned. This is what I mean about Aatrox. If he can't reach, it's so difficult, but then he reaches and dealt 500 damage to this guy instantly. The Caitlyn simply doesn't have enough damage to match up the sustain of the Aatrox, and it's just a massacre. She doesn't press the lantern, she flashes away and she gets to live, and now the Thresh is caught between a rock and a hard place. There's just no way he can escape. He just, well, never mind, he actually escapes. It says that, he goes back in. The Caitlyn is just tickling this guy. It's a tickle fiend. It's an absolute tickle fiesta. Nobody's dealing damage to the man. What are you trying? This guy is level 12 with 1 billion items and you're tickling him. Aatrox. Like, he had death stance in this fight, which means, think about this, he resets his ultimate timer and then he gets another big chunk of healing from death stance while the burn damage is being cleansed. So he barely takes any burst damage from physical, and he heals up for so much. How do you kill this guy? You really don't. And Zyra as a laner can't really do anything about this. She doesn't have the damage, nor does she have the utility to deny the Aatrox from doing anything. But now he's getting too overzealous. Again, we all know we just want to have some fun, but in reality, if we want to be very constructive, Baron setup was the right play. We want to set up Baron around that time and then force the enemy to come into us and then win the game, because if they walk into us, we just run them down. He avoided most of the spells here. If he catches any one of the enemies, it's getting very problematic for them. But the enemy team has relatively good zone control with our ultimate into the way, and then the Thresh box as well as Caitlyn traps. If he's the one running at them first, it's very unlikely for him to achieve anything if it's a teamfight scenario, because he'll just get zoned and potentially killed eventually. But if he gets a flank or somebody else gets off these cooldowns or engages for him and locks them down, he will instantly kill them. Also for the support role, you see, they really like Zeke's Convergence, and it's such a broken item. This item with a good AD carry as a rush item for you on support is really, really good. And it has been good for a long time, but they made it even more broken with the power of granting it health. Now the enemy's ranks are completely in disarray, and they are finally around Nashor. They have to walk into Nashor now, and if they do, it's an instant death angle. The Nautilus has ult available, and it's just a matter of time until their turn. The Aatrox uses the ultimate, goes onto the Thresh, goes behind the Thresh, finds the enemy Master Yi, just zones them so the Baron cannot be stolen, and now it's a festival. It's a rundown for them. The Master Yi goes in. He doesn't get an ult reset, which means he's so much weaker now, but the Yone goes back with the Spirit on his third ability, and it's just a fiesta. He just barely gets to move. Man, it's so depressing to see like a 15-2-5 Aatrox unable to go in because he gets zoned constantly by the team composition. But with Baron being killed, it's now time to siege, and he pops the ultimate, making sure that Zyra is not able to stand the tower tanks 2 turns at the same time. Now, after sieging, like, this is something we need to talk about. Okay, after you siege an objective, after you get the objective and siege, you want to only then go into the enemy jungle and pillage. You really don't want to start pillaging and then sieging, because you want to do so while walking away. And you don't want to waste time, because Baron is meant to siege. L, on the other hand, is meant to fight or secure Baron, because you usually can't really siege into teams that have wave clear, even though you have Elder, unless you have very interesting champions and the enemy team has no wave clear at all. Master Yi is literally griefing, going too close. There's a lantern, and somebody doesn't want to press the lantern. Again, Master Yi gets caught. Now we will see a rundown. Again, the Master Yi is still dead, and the Thresh is putting the Aatrox on a leash constantly. Beautiful flash onto the backline, but he just cannot reach the Caitlyn. There's too much control with the power of the Thresh, and it just takes more than, like, it takes so much time. But fortunately for the Aatrox team, the enemy team doesn't have any damage. Man, it's just a beautiful gameplay. Outside of these 2 signature mistakes, it was a very, very powerful gameplay, and I really like the way he played in the early game, and it's just a finisher angle here. And if you like this type of video, please subscribe to this channel. Please check out the China WildRift channel in the description below, because they're putting out such nice content. It is insane how much of a different caliber these players are compared to the normal ranked players to meet on Europe or NA. So if you want to enjoy high quality WildRift and get some commentary in, which makes it maybe a little bit more exciting, make sure to subscribe to this channel and we'll catch more Chinese WildRift every single day, if I can, in the near future. So we'll see each other in the next video. Like and comment, and yeah, let's go.